going live. They don't see us yet. It's just a banner. And are we live? Are we live? We are live. So they're receiving content, and I will wait.
It is on Amazon.
Huh? It is on Amazon?
It is.
Yep.
Oh, it's on Prime? Badass. Yeah, that's a good movie, man.
Yeah.
It is now added to the queue.
Nice.
Ooh, we already got 5 in here. Hey, we will go live in 1 minute. We got Fuego
1990.
here with us, and good to go. Just waiting for a couple people here to get in.
Why should we wait for anybody?
Why should we? Well, I want them to hear the answers. You know what I'm saying? And plus I'm getting dressed, so you know we gotta wait for me to get dressed.
You're getting dressed.
Yeah. You know.
Why am I sitting here with you while I'm waiting for you to get dressed?
Well, that's why I said bring the.
Why are you wearing a
blackened sunglasses? Why am I wearing a thick sweater?
I tell you, everything you're wearing just makes me warm.
I'm sure that's the same for me then too. Wearing the jacket, it's like fashion is pain.
I don't think.
Well, see, because you're inside, right? You're inside, and it's cold.
I'm inside in nice air conditioning.
Right.
You know?
See,
I don't own any long sleeve shirts. I don't think.
I know.
And if I do, I usually rip the sleeves off.
Ted's a polar bear. He just jumps outside and. Yeah. No, whatever.
If I'm cold, take me to the hospital because I'm sick.
Oh Lord. Okay. Well, we got some people in here. They're headed in here. It says 10. So I am going to get this thing started, and here we go. Let me get things rolling here. Let me. You got your water there, Ted? You ready?
Heck yeah, I do.
Okay. So here we go. Felix is already here. What's up, Felix? Beth. What is up, Beth? And we're live. Well, we were live, but hey, welcome to Late Late Horror Show, you guys. Group? What is going on, man? We got another tag video, a Stephen King horror tag video, and we got, well, this is Ted. We all know that.
Yeah,
and I'm Dino. I don't even know why I say our names anymore. But CP in the house. Anybody on iTunes, remember, we're on YouTube video, so you hear us throwing names out there. It's because we're always in the chat talking to them. But hey, who do we got with us here today? We got Jaime and Fuego from The Horror Show. Mm-hmm. And the link is down below. You know, I should let him say that. But first, Fuego, I got The Horror Show links. Check them out below. I've got the playlist to all of Fuego's. I call him Fuego. It's. I'm not going to go through the whole.
Go for short at this point, you know.
Right, Fuego. I've got his playlist down below for the Hail to Stephen King and anything Stephen King related from the Horror Show channel. And I also put in Fuego and Fuegotainment. I put that link down there just in case you throw something up there. I saw it and I was looking back, and he's got a lot of rock stuff going on there and other things. So we'll see whatever that takes in the future. I'll talk to you about that in a few.
Been talking about a relaunch for a while, but you know, with 2 to 3 episodes a day, the horror show has definitely been taking precedence. You know,
right. But the link's down there. Anybody interested, if they're fans, they also would like to probably go over there and hit that too and see what you did. Because I was looking at a couple older videos there, Fuego, and yeah, it's you go back about 5 years on there, I think, maybe a little bit longer.
Yeah, I think it's like close to 7 at this point. Back when I was a VJ for heavy metal television, shit, even before that.
Right, yeah. That was interesting. But yeah, needless to say, I think everybody who watches my channel knows who he is. But if you want to say anything real quick, tell us your channel real quick, even though I did that, your name and your show that you do.
Yeah, definitely. So twice a week we do something called Hail to Stephen King on the Horror Show, and that's where I cover anything King-centric. I have an ongoing series called Films That Forgot the Face of Their Father, where I do like sequels like Return to Salem's Lot. Sometimes they come back again, you know, Pet Sematary 2, things like that. Lots of anniversary coverage. At the end of the month, we're going to be discussing Bag of Bones for its 20th anniversary, the Bram Stoker winning novel. So, I mean, we just jump all over the place with that coverage. But I have to give the biggest shout out to the guys who brought me into the fold, obviously, which is Cecil and producer Dave, because they're really, I mean, I kind of handled the King stuff more so on my own a little bit, but they gave me the platform to present it, man, and it's like a super blessing to be part of that team because they're really the workhorses of it, you know, when it all boils down to it, with the trailer reactions, film reviews, with all the stuff that we do. Cecil and I were just out for The Predator last night, which we put our thoughts on it. I love most of it. You know, I'm not going to go into that. There's a review
right.
Spoiler room too.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I mean, I'm so proud to be part of the team, and yeah, constant.
You started out a fan, right? I mean, technically, right?
Season 1 of the Horror Show, back before we became an ongoing YouTube channel, we used to do stuff in in seasons. And so season 1, I was doing VJ work for Heavy Metal Television with Susie Von Slaughter, who has since gone on to have 3 more children and is nailed down for coverage and stuff, you know, which is understandable. But yeah, she was like, hey, I just went and auditioned for this new show that's starting, and I think you'd like it because I know you like horror. I was like, okay. So I watched a few videos, and I loved the vibe. I loved how it was loose, and it took horror seriously, but they didn't take themselves very seriously. And that's totally my MO. You know, I like to be informative but keep it fun and not be like too, you know, uppity about myself or anything. You know, and so yeah, I was a fan the first season, and I was like commenting on every video on their YouTube.
Yeah.
And he's like, "How about you come over for a podcast? I'm gonna like bridge the waters, kind of thing." And I was cosplayed as Skinner Sweet from the American Vampire, Stephen King / Scott Snyder comic book at Mad Monster in 2014. That's when Cecil and I met. We hit it off. We had some drinks and we talked shop, and yeah, the rest is history. So I joined for season 2 along with Marsha, and yeah, it's dope, man, and it's continued onward since then. So.
It's funny. I remember that video you're talking about, the vampire like kind of mini movie thing that you guys did there. That was kind of cool. So yeah. No, and hey, you guys, let me know if everything sounds good on his end, audio wise. Should be working good. Hopefully, Fuego sounds perfect. Queenie is in the chat. Hey, girl, what's going on? Bob says hello. Nice to see you in the chat. And Ramon is in there. He says, "What's up?" He's already asking us about Sleepwalkers. I'll try to get that. If you get, we're going to start on this.
I told you I wanted to do that movie here pretty soon. I mentioned that.
We're going to jump right on the tag video, and technically this was started, I think, by Bronco Juggalo, their channel, and I will get the link down there too, so it will be down there. I'm putting a whole mess of links up in the description, so I'll eventually get.
Of links.
I'll give him the credit, and I will put the link down there. So look for that, you guys. Later on, after I get this uploaded again, after it's done, you know, doing what it does. But yeah, he's talking about Sleepwalkers. We'll get to questions after we do our tag, our questions, and technically there's 8 questions. We'll each answer them and see our choices and what we think about everything. Right. But again, all the links below, you guys. What's that, Fuego?
I was just saying, if only we could have had 19 questions, that would have been
19. Everything's 19. You don't get it.
No, 19. What? You don't get it. No, 19. But hey, everybody, thanks for joining us here, you guys. This should be fun. Coming from the man who knows Stephen King and this guy over here who really does. And I'm a little bit behind, but I'm good. So yeah,
I like what I like.
You do, but yeah. So hey, let's just jump right off and get to question number 1. Okay. Question number 1 is, what is your favorite Stephen King movie?
So this is one, yeah, man. This is one that a lot of people might be surprised by because there's the biggies. You know, there's Shawshank, there's Misery, there's The Shining. Even if King hates it, things like that. But for me, as far as taking source material, elevating it, and making it immensely better when you have really good stuff to begin with, I go with Frank Darabont's The Mist from 2007. That is my favorite Stephen King movie. It brought so much more life. It expanded upon characters. I personally prefer the black and white version of it.
I was just going to ask you that.
Spotty CGI in certain scenes, it helps to mask that a little bit, like where kid gets attacked when they're, you know, trying to get the generator started again and stuff. But I mean, and the ending, the fact that King approved the non-happy ending just blows my mind. He has even gone on record to say that he's like, hey, that was a better ending than I can contemplate, because King usually has a silver lining in his stuff, and that's what they did with the novella. You know, they escape and they're at like kind of a Holiday Inn pseudo kind of place, just chilling, him and his son, and everything's like, well, we don't know what's going to happen, but you know, the sky's the limit, blah blah, whatever. But they went for such a dark ending, and Thomas Jane just brings up such emotion in that scene, man, where he's just crying his eyes out and you know, just such weeping nastiness. And yeah,
it's a great film.
It made it like an episode of The Twilight Zone at the end there. You know, just the good,
right?
You know, the ending like that nihilistic kind of.
Yeah, good. I mean, excellent choice. I am a bit surprised that it's well, maybe not. I mean, you've gone through the entire every novel and you know all the movies and stuff like that. So yeah, I guess I can see that it is up there as one of the better movies adapted from the books. But I'm probably always going to stick to some old school stuff. But I don't know. Do you want to go? You go next.
I'll go next. Go ahead. I did pick Shining.
I got my crappy
just because I'm
board here.
I got my phone.
My clipboard. But go
Well,
ahead.
I picked Shining not only because.
What's that?
Oh, sorry.
I was just going to interject real quick that I purposefully didn't choose any sequels, miniseries, television adaptations, anything like that. I went strictly for film, you know. But I missed.
I think
pretty much,
Yeah, I stayed away from the miniseries and things too.
Yeah, good choice. Good.
I said Shining. You know my love for it.
Yeah.
Being the Kubrick fan I am,
and
I know it deviates from the source material in many ways, but it's just such a slow burn and one of the few horror epics in my opinion.
You dig deep into all the imagery and the
meanings.
Little Easter
Kubrick
eggs.
did nothing for no reason, but that doesn't take away from the fact that it just ever since I was a kid and saw it, just freaked me out that slow burn of it and just the claustrophobia of the hotel and then just the fear of a father trying to kill his wife and child at the end there. So.
Yeah, I know that affects you a little bit.
It does.
When it comes
that
to
stuff.
that
Always,
kind
any
of
movie where like kids are in jeopardy just always really affects me for some reason. But I think it's masterfully done and maybe not the closest adaptation, but one that I probably watch 3-4 times a year. So
yeah, okay, no, good choice. Bob says Pet Cemetery, just throwing that out there in the chat. And another good one. We did that one. There's a list of movies that we can go on, and I'm going to
better stay out of that rod.
A lot of history on that rod.
You're keeping away from that rod.
I'm actually really curious how John Lithgow is going to do in that role, man. I'm kind of excited for that casting, to be honest. So.
Couldn't have been as good. You got Herman Munster.
I like John Lithgow, but we'll see. I know.
Once you see Fred Gwynne do it, though, it's just.
Oh, well, exactly. I mean, come on.
Nobody. It's just one of those things.
Okay, so my number one answer, my favorite film of all time. I have two down here, but I'm going to stick with Stand By Me, 1986.
Oh, yeah, good.
Nice, okay.
And really, it was one of the first movies I've ever seen. So when it comes to movies and myself, I'm very nostalgic, you know what I mean? So the nostalgia plays a part in my choices in movies. I think you know that because a lot of people will say that's his best movie. That he likes those movies,
But it's good. It's a great story.
Stand By Me is great. I mean,
another one where it's kind of fleshed out
and I love the stories with the kids. Always, because it puts you in the place of the child. The kid. Those little preteen years when you used to be able to walk outside and just go off camping and stuff like that with other kids and stuff like that. But
we don't do that anymore, so.
Right, yeah. That's what sucks.
Let him. Sorry.
No, but, and it was followed really close by Salem's Lot, the made-for-TV movie.
Wow.
Even though many might not agree with me.
We love.
But, yeah, I really, really love that movie. But, Stand By Me, 1986. So.
And that was such a popular movie, too. I mean,
Heck
you couldn't function in society if you didn't see that movie. So.
Salem's Lot?
No, Stand By.
Oh, Stand By Me.
It's kind of like the Napoleon Dynamite of 1986 or whatever. You had to see it.
There you go.
Well, I will say that was like where people started to really realize, okay, Stephen King doesn't just do horror.
Exactly.
They're like, he can do something this endearing, this heartwarming, and that movie is like, it oozes nostalgia. It totally does with, even him looking back and, the end portion and stuff and, saying what happened to all of his friends and, some bang Vietnam, just all these different things. Like, it's a great novella from different seasons, and Damon's in a good movie. Rob Reiner, much like Frank Darabont, I think always crushes it when you tackle Stephen King, so.
Heck yeah, man. Darling Darkness, hello, in the YouTube chat. And let's see, Nightmare Files is there, says hello there. So thanks for joining us, you guys. And we're going to go to question number 2. What is the worst Stephen King movie? Oh,
this is easy.
Is it?
It's the worst Stephen King book.
Okay, go ahead.
Dreamcatcher.
Okay.
Absolutely the worst Stephen King book and the worst adaptation. There's some redeeming qualities because It had Lawrence Kasdan directing. It had a hell of a cast, and everyone from Morgan Freeman to Jason Lee, all across the board. It had so much talent involved, but that movie is just a mess, man. It's an absolute mess, and the balance
garbage
between the camaraderie of the friends, which you see in something like Stand By Me or in It or in various others like that, but it felt very forced, and in my opinion, it's because the source material was written when King was super doped up after the accident where he almost died, and so the whole book is very half-baked in my opinion, the forced just, meshing of sci-fi and stuff. I honestly think if you want sci-fi King, you go to Tommyknockers. You do not go Dreamcatcher, man, at least for me.
And I haven't read that book. I have it, but I haven't read it. And my rule is I don't like to watch the movies unless I've read the book first. So I always have to read. I always have to read the book before I watch it.
There's not an adaptation of Tommyknockers, is it?
It was a TV movie.
It was a TV miniseries, man, with
Tracy
Holy
Lords.
shit! No shit. Okay. Anyways,
it's terrible, but he's good. Everything else is pretty bad. It's got Tracy Lords in it, like after her career ended and that other stuff. So
Holy shit! Oh, I'm
sorry. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Very interesting. Okay. Well, I'm going to really quickly throw out two very forgotten films. Okay, by him. My worst is Secret Window, 2004, Johnny Depp.
Really?
Yeah, I did not care for that.
I like that one, man.
Did you really? Okay, well,
I think I only saw it one time. I barely remember.
A close second was Dolan's Cadillac from 2009.
That one's pretty garbage.
With Christian Slater. I thought both of the actors in both of those movies just did not do a good job acting, and the story was all over the place, but that's just me. I don't know. I guess
I'm Dolan's, man. Dolan's, I think it went direct to video, DVD, whatever. Over here. Canadian production, Slate. It's bad source material to begin with, so it's like that's the thing. King's short stories, dude, they're more hit and miss than his novels, in my opinion, which is why you get a whole fat stack of them in those collections. So.
Heck yeah, man! And Johnny Depp, just for me, he just.
Well, that was before he got overplayed. But.
Right. But anyways, go ahead. What's yours, Ted?
Dark Tower broke my heart.
Oh,
I thought you were going to say it first, but
I might have gone Dark Tower now that I think about it. Ted, I hate that movie so much with passion. It didn't even occur to me as a choice because it's like it doesn't exist. I hate it. So
I didn't even pay to go see it at the theater. I borrowed it from the library.
Yeah,
because I wasn't. Yeah. There was so much build-up. They were talking about doing. Ron Howard's going to do this series of films, and then
that's
do like Wizard in Glass as a mini-series.
Yeah.
And,
why did they Harry Potter those movies, man? Like,
there's so much.
You could either make different movies. Let's bring out a 1, 2, 3, 4. Consisting of the storyline in there, or. I could see it being an HBO series like Game of Thrones or something.
And if they did that, it would be more epic than any of those shows.
Well, yeah.
Because it's just,
So that,
and
that
if you
was
haven't
what
read
I
it, you
thought,
don't know. I mean,
well, they're still contending that Amazon Prime is working on a young Roland, Wizard and Glass, and the Gunslinger stuff. But with the flop of the film, I don't know. King said it would be a complete reboot as opposed to bringing Idris Elba back, because originally Idris was supposed to be there for flashback scenes and stuff, but I love Idris Elba, but that casting was terrible, and it just didn't make sense to me.
It's supposed to be a Clint Eastwood type. I would have taken McConaughey in the role that Idris Elba played, but I didn't hate McConaughey in the role that he played.
Right.
But they just made him a cartoon character instead of.
Yeah. I liked where Ronnie Howe was actually originally going to have Javier Bardem as the gunslinger, and I thought that was inspired.
That would have been okay. I'd been down with that.
Yeah.
And they actually wear a hat.
Mm-hmm. It's just, it had nothing to do with him being a black guy or anything like that. It's not the way he was described in the book. And then because of him being black, they didn't put the other black character in there. I mean, there's so many characters that just weren't in there. I mean, none of the,
Well, it's hard to smush a whole universe into one movie like that.
None of the content was in there.
The excuse that they gave was it was one last time around for everybody who's read the books. They're like, oh, he has the horn of elk now or whatever. But
oh boy, he's got a horn. Whoopee.
No,
it's like there were things in it I liked, but just not. They were just like moments, little moments that I liked. But
gotcha.
Like when
It's my choice. It's not Dreamcatcher anymore. It's
it was just like like when the
worst Stephen King movie ever
When McConaughey's walking through like the dilapidated, and there's like the sign of the Crimson King, he just puts his hand on it, and just little things like that I dug, and then you broke my heart.
Oh well. Yeah, Darling Darkness says also Riding the Bullet was very disappointing as well.
I disagree. I like Riding the Bullet.
Did you? Okay. Yeah. See, everybody's got different, different ideas here, with stuff. So, Secret Window. Hey, Pamela Coleman in the chat. Okay, let's move on to question number 3. What Stephen King book would you like to see made into a movie? And I feel like an asshole now.
I was going to say, you could get me out of the way real quick.
Well, let me throw my answer out there because I feel like an idiot now because I did not know that Tommyknockers was made into a
well, it was a TV miniseries. Hasn't been made into a motion picture.
But I can say that. Well, there you go then. Yeah, because
interject. It's in development right now, produced by James Wan as a motion picture.
Oh, there we go.
Okay. So there you go. I got something to look forward to. Hopefully,
because it's a different format, and
Well, I just love the story. I mean, I'm big into sci-fi. That old, 50s, 60s sci-fi era. With
and that's this would be the story for you then.
And that poking out of the ground. It was one of the novels I read too. This and It were one of the ones that stuck in my head in my late teens that I started reading. The first books that I really got into. The Exorcist was first, but what a first.
Came out right around each other. As I look at my shelf, I know they're only like a year or so apart.
So even though it's I guess whatever. Tommyknockers is my choice for and they're going to do it. So there you go.
There we go.
Little premonition, but go ahead.
Oh, get me! I just like to see the Dark Tower done properly. I don't mean to be boring, but
years. I hope
it could be something so much better. It could be Lord of the Rings. It could be it could be that good. It could be.
No, I know you detest it so bad that you want it again. So let's just
it's genre bending.
Disregard
it's Western,
that it was a
it's
movie.
science fiction. It's horror. Yeah. It's so many different things. It's got something for everybody.
It does.
True.
Right.
True. Since he took the easy way out and picked a movie that was already made.
Easy. Being honest.
Okay, how about you, Fuego?
So I went for stuff that has not been previously adapted and is not reportedly in development. Okay. So I'm actually going to go. I think it's one of his unsung books of the last decade. I love Doomakey. Doomakey is where Stephen King went into territory in Florida. He lives there like a good portion of the year now when Maine is too friggin' cold and stuff. And it's about this guy who gets in an accident, loses one of his arms, and it explores everything from phantom limb syndrome to, there is a ghost story that they eventually weave in there. But yeah, he's living in this pink home on the coast, right on the ocean. He starts getting this crazy, I don't know, I guess, burning. I don't know. It's an inspiration to draw and to paint, and he's on the ends with his wife and his daughter and all these other things. So it's a really dope book, and it's one that surprisingly, that and Rose Madder are two that with every King property practically known to man in some cycle of development or something like that. I would love to see both of those. Rose Madder is one about an abused woman who's trying to escape her cop husband and stuff. But for stuff in development, man, I mean, Revival is badass. It's this kind of Lovecraftian almost. It's about this kid who meets this preacher. This preacher is experimenting with electrical currents from other dimensions and stuff, and he goes on to meet him later in life, and he's a televangelist type, and yet he has a dark side to him. That is maybe my favorite King novel of the last decade. Revival is amazing, but Josh Boone, who did Fault in Our Stars, and he's reportedly doing the 10-part Stand miniseries right now for CBS. He's trying to develop that. But this is one that I'm wondering if Ted knows. The Talisman. I would love to see The Talisman. It ties in with The Tower.
Peter Straub.
Square. It's badass, man. And Spielberg was trying to develop it as a TV series for Amblin at one point. And they're saying there's a possibility, but yeah. So that's my
those because they tie into Dark Tower. Well, Black House and a little bit Dark Tower. So it's cool to have those. And that was the cool part about Dark Tower. You could get all the little books that tie into it, and It was always
well,
cool.
they got Castle Rock now with it's the universe, which
sort of. Well, that's sort of what
I watched
it could be.
the first episode, and
I haven't watched it yet. It's in my queue. I haven't watched it yet.
Castle Rock sucks, man.
Okay, I was going to ask you, Fuego, because I watched the first episode and I gave up on it already.
It's one that I watch with my girlfriend week in and week out, and we're both crazy King fans and stuff, and it really feels more like a nod and wink reference city than something, because it's not based on any prior work, you know? It's basically just playing in King's Playground, and Ted knows about the whole multiverse thing. It feels like a twinny Castle Rock. It's not the Castle Rock. It's like an alternate dimension Castle Rock that kind of sucks. So yeah, that's the best way that I can describe it.
Why do they screw these things up?
Well, I'll have to read Doomakey. How does the guy lose his arm in Doomakey?
So he's a guy that works on different like building sites and stuff like that. So it happens at the very beginning of the book. He's on site where they're putting together, it's an apartment complex or something like that. This huge beam falls on his truck, loses his arm. As he's going through rehab and all the meds and stuff like that, he's like fighting with his wife constantly. And she's like, you change, you know, I want to, divorce, blah, blah, whatever. So he leaves Minnesota, he goes to Florida, moves over there, and that's where he starts getting the urge to paint, and that's where the inspiration comes from when he's living in this weird house on the coast. And dude, his camaraderie with this guy who lives just down the beach from him, this older hippie guy named Wireman, it's very grotesque. The guy is so funny. He is one of the most quotable Stephen King characters there is. I love Jimmy King, man.
I've got it on my reader. I haven't read it yet, so I'll check that out as soon as I can.
Well, best novel in the decade.
Or Revival. I've got Revival as well. I've got most of them on my reader. I just a chance to get around to reading it.
And just to throw it out real quick, you guys, Bronco Juggalo Talks Movies is in the chat right now.
All right.
Hey, man, I'm going to get your link down in the description. He started this tag, so to give him all credit, great questions. Stephen King fan. Give his...
What's his favorite ICP album? I would say Amazing Juggle Brothers, but that's just...
Yeah. Okay, and Star's here too, leading blind. So hey, how you doing, Star?
Hey.
So let's move to question number 4.
This is a fun one.
Yes. What Stephen King character would you like to be and why? I'm going to take the kid approach, but here, let me go. I would love to be Kurt Barlow from Salem's Lot.
What? I love it.
It's because Ted thinks I'm a jackass, but anyways, it's because I'm enthralled with vampires. I know. Why would you want to?
Why would you want to be that one? He's not sexy or anything.
Oh, don't need to be the lurking, whatever. And he's ancient, whatever. I love the character. I love his.
I was really wondering who you were going to pick. So I didn't expect that.
Well, hey, I'm going straight for vampire. I'm going for one of my favorite movies of all time. Me and vampires. I don't care if I lurk in castles or whatever. I'll do what I got to do. So that's my choice, man. Right. So let's hop to Fuego.
So we're not talking Barlow from the remake with Rob Lowe, right?
No. We're talking the original, made-for-TV movie. Would say.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, if you could hang around James Mason all day, I guess that'd be all right.
Your character, that's for sure. Ted, whoever.
Oh, it don't matter.
Fuego, go ahead.
Oh, please. Yeah, he's our guest.
Yeah, so this was a really tough one for me because I'm very much like Dino in the fact that I love the childhood kind of like, living those memories sort of thing of characters like, Jack Sawyer in The Talisman. It's why I like it so much and, so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, I had to go Jake Epping from 11/22/63 because I love time travel so friggin' much. Back to the Future solidified that for me as a kid. And, just the power that you can wield with something like that. And I would love to go to distant, decades before this one. Everybody's told me constantly that with my taste in music and movies and stuff like that, I'm a man out of my time, and
I hear you.
Didn't even think about that when time travel would have been great.
Yeah, no, that's a good one, man. And I love that you're a little nostalgic when it comes to all of this stuff. So that's cool. Yeah.
Have you guys seen the JJ miniseries that they did? It's not perfect, but it's actually pretty damn good, with the exception of adding a character that wasn't me.
I didn't see it. I didn't see it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's worth the watch.
It's I haven't.
It goes surprisingly good.
What's it? It's on Hulu or something. I know I have it queued up.
Yeah.
I have everything queued, and I never get to watch anything.
Eventually get around
someday
to
when
it.
I'm home for a month or something.
Yeah.
You know?
I can break an arm or leg or something.
Yeah, maybe a leg. Arm I could still work,
okay,
but
leg.
leg, yeah, I can't walk down the hall.
Okay, maybe I'll do that then. Okay, how about you?
I picked Ben Mears from Salem's Lot so I could kill you.
No!
No, but I did.
Did you really?
Yes. I just
really
like the idea of a regular, ordinary Joe doing battle with dark evil and then winning, surviving to tell the tale, and then coming back for seconds at the end of the book. You're about to wipe them all out again. So I thought that was kind of an... And in the miniseries movie and in the TV movie, I kind of get the feeling that they're still doing their thing. They're looking for vampires everywhere, but
love that movie, man.
I like that idea. Just
and we did the commentary on that.
No one who was called to do it.
It was a really long commentary, and
just a regular guy. A regular guy who falls into a circumstance and does what he has to do.
So boring, though.
He's
what
not
the
a chosen one like
you,
Buffy.
Man?
What? What do you want me to pick?
You could pick.
I picked what I liked.
You could have picked something way out there, man.
Pick your mama.
I'm actually very down with the Ben Mears choice because as far as, a King story that I would love to see continued, I did a video for Hale like a while back called Books That Need Sequels. Mm-hmm. And, dude, they left it, Ted knows, they left it, well, both you guys know if you've even seen the miniseries, they left it wide open.
He was coming back to get the rest of them. So.
That scene,
they just had to lick their wounds a little bit.
That scene at the end of Salem's Lot where he opens the door and they're all crawling out. I mean, that scene will never get out of my head.
Good.
It sticks there to this
That's when
day,
TV
man.
movies were good, like we were talking about during the podcast.
Yeah.
There was a time when TV movies were a big deal. Now they're shite. But.
Well, it's a different era.
So we've seen Return to Salem's Lot, the Larry Cohen.
Well, yeah. I don't think I've ever even seen it. No,
Michael Moriarty, I don't know. Ever since The Stuff, man, I love Michael Moriarty. I'll watch him in just
Oh, heck. So that was good then, because we haven't seen that.
It's not good, but it's enjoyable. Is what I'm going to say.
Okay.
Yeah,
we're down for this is a good flick to watch.
There's so much to watch. I mean, I'm by no means have I even. And like I said, I've got that self-imposed rule. Not that Return to Salem's Lot has anything to do with it, but if I haven't read the book, I don't watch the movies. There's lots of movies I haven't seen.
Right. Fuego. Beth says Beth S in the chat. She says who's a big fan. Thank you for all our channels here. She says, did you get a new shelf in the background? And I think you did, didn't you?
Yeah. There's it's actually a tower now, and I unveiled it the 101st episode of Hail to Stephen King. So you're only seeing a portion of it now.
Yeah, it's his dark tower.
It's actually a dark tower of books.
As long as the beams don't break and it all comes crumbling down.
and you're like they're like 30 pounds of weight for each level, and I've got these fatty hardcovers like stacked to the brim. So.
Oh my lord! But that is awesome though, man. You got everything you love right there. That's cool. Awesome. Stephen King.
Yeah, I'll raise my dude. Cy King. Yeah.
Leading Blind says, Dino, I can't see my red death doll. Not okay. Whatever. Yeah, I think it's up there somewhere. But anyways, let's question number 5, right? Yeah, question number 5. Let's see. What is the most disturbing scene in a Stephen King movie?
This is a fun one.
Let's see. Just for in this, you can go so many different ways with this, and one of mine is because of my phobias. Is in Carrie, the original Carrie, not any of them.
Getting the tampons thrown at you.
No, that's a little disturbing too. But no, when the mother locks her in that closet and she's got the little cross there, the religious symbolism and the just being stuck in there with that little light, and then it goes. It's just creeps me the frick out.
Yeah, that would be very scary.
And it intermingles my phobias of the claustrophobia.
And that's the point of
being locked in there.
Right. Because something simple like that doesn't have to be supernatural.
Yeah, and why that sticks out to me, more than all the others, because this is a vast, topic to dive into. But that one just hits me more than anything for that reason. So yeah. So how about you?
Me?
Yeah.
The bear giving head to the guy in China. Whereas, I mean, in the book, it was a dog, I believe.
No, yeah.
Dressed as a dog. And it's also, not just because it's weird, but this whole time in the film, you're thinking this is all...
Hey, Zachary, go ahead.
This is all what Jack Torrance's character is seeing. You know, he's the one. But then Wendy's the one who sees it.
We dove deep into this in our commentary on that, but go ahead. Yeah.
But Wendy's the one who sees it.
Right.
So what's manifesting that she's seeing? Because, and then there's there's lots of theories about it. You know, like maybe Jack Torrance was molesting his son. And there are scenes where they'll show their similarities between that scene and scenes with Danny, and you know, just that kind of is disturbing as well.
He's like, you know, I love you, son, and he's just sitting there with them and stuff. Just the weird, creepy vibe. I'm actually not the biggest fan of the Shining film because I have so much, like, I think it's so beautiful from a stylistic standpoint, and I know I mean, shit, dude, I love Strange Love. I adore Clockwork and 2001 and stuff like that. But for me, I don't know. What I want to do, and I'm curious, Ted, if you've watched it, is that Room 237 documentary.
Yes, I've seen it.
Explored all of just the different symbolism, and I've yet to watch it, but I'm really curious to because I know Kubrick just stacked.
That one was okay, but then I think you can watch it free online, Kubrick's Odyssey. That delves into it a little bit more. It tries to tie it into the Apollo Moon theory that Kubrick directed that footage. Yeah. And, I mean, it makes an interesting case.
Yeah,
but,
you were saying that was the better of the two.
So I mean, I know Kubrick didn't do anything for nothing. You know,
no.
Everything is there for a reason. I mean, there's scenes in The Shining where there's
conspiracy theory.
He's typing, and there's a chair, and then it flashes away. It comes back, the chair's gone. I mean, he didn't make mistakes. The chair's not there for a reason. and I don't know what it is. But that scene always just, I don't know. Because it's just the crescendo of the movie, and, you know, the shit's going down, and...
Right. No, I get you.
In the middle of it. You know?
Fuego, how about you?
Yeah, you know, it's really tough because you could go for iconic stuff. Like for me, watching the miniseries, and you know, this isn't a film, obviously, but you know, the part where Georgie is like, "You let me die, Bill," and so on. I still remember seeing that as a really little kid, and that it scared me so much. You know, especially being an older brother, you know, to two younger siblings and stuff. Or I could go with you know, Zelda in Mary Lambert's Pet Cemetery. That honestly, Zelda scared me as a child more than anything else in that movie.
Right.
For whatever reason. And when I saw the casting for this new movie is going to be an age-appropriate girl, I don't think it's going to hit in the same way that man playing the character contorting around and all that craziness. It's not going to have the same impact. But
you can't recreate that.
To it, I had to go with. I saw this one as a teenager. Creepshow 2. The Raft, where the guy is trying to get down on the girl, and like he unleashes her bosoms or whatever, and then you see what's actually going on with her face being like ripped up by the tar and stuff. That gave me nightmares so hard. I mean, it was like, yeah, I'm a teenager, getting a Woody, and then I see that, and I'm frightened beyond belief and just disgustipated. I still think that's the best adaptation of a Stephen King short story that's ever been done. And it was filmed here in Arizona, too, just up north around Prescott, just south of the White Mountains and the Grand Canyon and stuff. And I don't know. There's something for me that I don't go swimming in lakes or anything, man, just because that movie messed me up so much. Or that segment, Creepshow 2 at least. So
that is the best part of Creepshow 2. I mean, the rest of it I could completely throw away.
It goes into each individual's fears and what affected them when you were younger and you've seen these movies and stuff. So yeah, it's even though somebody else might have a more disturbing part in any other film, but those I get you, man. Actually, I had rats as pets, but I won't talk about that since Fuego's so disgusted by
it's rats.
Yeah. They make great pets.
He was just breeding them.
If you want to go a different kind of disgusting, I would have to say the whole Oedipus Rex crap in Sleepwalkers. Yuck.
Have you seen Sleepwalkers?
I haven't seen Sleepwalkers.
Oh, you got it. It's good.
I do have to?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I told you I want to do it in the
I know
show.
You've mentioned it. Yeah.
Yeah, Cat people banging their mothers. It's pretty messed up.
Imagine back in there for Twin Peaks. We'll watch that.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, King had all the drugs in the 80s, man, and his mind all.
I know. Yeah, and half the time, didn't he say he didn't remember even what he did?
I think he said he didn't remember writing. What book did he say he didn't remember writing?
He doesn't remember writing
Pet Sematary, right?
Barely remembers writing Tommy Knockers, and there's a few others. Like the mid-'80s was when he was at his absolute worst. Like people talk about him being on the set directing Maximum Overdrive, and he's like going into the trailer to launch shit up his nose, man. And just, yeah,
unreal,
We
man.
had that burst of creativity in the 80s.
Yeah, burst of creativity.
Oh, some of the best
It
stuff.
snowed a lot in the 80s, you know.
It's
But okay, yeah, let me see the chat here real quick. Did he just say bosoms? Yes, he did say
Heck yeah,
bosoms,
unleashed the
Broncos.
bosoms.
Bosoms Unleashed. Hashtag Bosoms Unleashed.
Yes. Let's see. Darling Darkness. Sadly, they butchered the ending of The Raft.
I actually like the different ending personally. I beat you instead of him getting hypnotized by the oil slick like he does at the end of the short story. I like that. Very similar to The Mist. I like the different ending.
Cool. Okay. I had that movie memorized for a while. So it's leading by. Okay, cool. Let's go to question number 6. Question number 6 is, who is your favorite Stephen King villain?
No contest. No contest.
Yeah, let's see if we all got the same thing here. I'll go with Jack Nicholson from The Shining.
Okay.
That's, it's just because of everything, the psychotic nature that he, and the twist he turned, where he went crazy after his wife, his child, and going. So, yeah, I think he's, for me.
I like it.
I don't think that's what Fuego's going for, but he's got something different. And
well, let's hear what
I
he's
think
got.
I might know what he's. Well, let's see. Go ahead.
Oh, you want me to go next?
Yeah, go ahead.
The Walking Dude.
Yeah, he's the one who's appeared as a villain in more so than anything else.
Randall Flagg.
Okay.
Flagg goes under many guises, but
yes, this would be the character you might know from The Stand. The villain in The Stand who calls all the people to Vegas and
see that it's I'm not is
well, did you see The Dark Tower?
No.
Okay, well, Matthew McConaughey's character, same guy.
Okay. Yeah.
He's in Eyes of the Dragon. He's
that's why I got these two guys here, because I'm not as I don't know
he's
the knowledge.
the multiverse villain.
Yeah.
He goes by many names.
Gotcha.
Fans that are reading the books have to. You look for initials. He'll use certain initials, and sometimes a character will have a different name with the same initials, and you watch, and that's usually him.
Most recently in Wendy's Button Box, which was the Castle Rock novella, which he was under the guise of Richard Ferris, RF Randall Flagg. Like he always has the RF kind of thing.
Right.
That's the guy. Yeah, he's appeared as a villain, whether in a cameo role or as like a central character in more King things than anything else, man. So that's why he's definitely the most iconic. Honestly, Ted, I felt he was drastically underserved in the later Dark Tower books. I was very, very disappointed in what King decided to do with him, especially in the 7th book. But yeah, it is what it is.
It's not the demise I wanted for him. And,
yeah, well, I mean, he was painted as the iconic like major antagonist, and then in those back 3 books they shifted gears and
Crimson
King, and I'm not, and the Crimson King was big and silly and maniacal at the end once he finally gets there and hurling bombs, and he's like, "You can't get back," and all this crap. But yeah, Randall Flagg, dude, Walking Dude, the Man in Black. He has many names, but yeah, he's the best.
That's how the Dark Tower starts. The Man in Black.
See, I'm missing out on the whole Dark Tower universe type thing going on there. So yeah, you'll get there eventually.
Good, dude.
Once you start getting into them, like I said, Drawing of the Three, Wastelands, you're hooked.
No, I know. I tend to float back to my favorite novels.
Not only are they 2 of the better Stephen King books, they're 2 of the best books I've ever read.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, how about you, Fuego? Who's saying?
Well, Ted had my choice, but since you told me that he knew his King stuff, I had a feeling, so I chose a backup for my second favorite.
Okay.
And my second favorite is actually the one that I would like to see explored more so with either a prequel story or a sequel story. I also mentioned his name for novel sequels I would like him to write, and that's Leland Gaunt. from Needful Things. He is such a just badass, long, just eons long traveler, basically. I mean, in the film, I don't know if you've seen the film or if you've read the book or anything like that, but I mean, he has gone from town to town and just corrupted and manipulated and all of these different things. I mean, in the novel and the movie, I think if I remember correctly, he makes references about, you know, being like stretching back to the times of Jesus and all these other things. So I would like to see him in a different American town, or maybe somewhere in Europe, or, you know, the Middle East, or whatever.
Yeah,
he is,
cool.
and the fact that he gets away at the end, you know, and he's off.
Always gets away.
He left it gapingly wide open for another story with this antagonist, with this villain, and that's actually, it was supposed to be the last Castle Rock story. Didn't end up being the last Castle Rock story, but yeah, you've got Pangborn in there, you know, who everybody knows from, you know, the Dark Half, and he was also in Cujo, I think it's when he takes over for you know, Bannerman, the guy who gets killed by the dog and stuff. So it's very much part of the whole you know, Castle Rock verse. You have Ace Merrill, you know, is in Needful Things, the book, not the adaptation, but yeah, he's in the book as a central character that Cleveland manipulates and stuff. So I know how much you like Stand By Me, man. Needful Things is a good read if you're into continuation of those characters. So.
Okay, yeah, I have not read that novel, so that's probably one I should put on the list. Yeah. And Bronco Juggalo, he says, thank you very much. It's an honor to do this tag, and he said, especially in this way. Yeah, I mean, I've been digging these tag videos. I think it's because we can interact together and just to come up with our own personal questions and stuff. I mean, answers to the questions, and doing it live like this, you know, prolongs it a little bit. It's not a 7-minute video.
And it's neat to hear, you know, your reasons why.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. And it's awesome that I can have guests on here too and join in on the fun like this and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So without a doubt, no problem, Bronco. And again, I'll get the link down there to you. And yeah, then let's move to question number 7.
I forget all the questions. I just have my answers written down.
Yeah,
so
that's all right.
Trying to figure out
that's all right. I'll read
the question.
I'll read the question. Really? You don't know what question now?
I just wrote down answers. I don't always necessarily know that.
Okay, question number...
Once you say the question, I'll realize why I wrote that down.
Question number 7. Who is your favorite Stephen King hero?
Oh, see, well, now I know why I write this guy's name.
Well, why don't you go first?
Let me go first?
Yeah.
Whether it's the film or the book, because I think they're both inspiring, would be Andy Dufresne.
Okay,
Did I steal yours?
Right there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just...
to overcome like he did. To
overcome.
Yeah. Very sympathetic character, I think. Yeah.
And to always maintain hope in adversity.
Right.
Which I think maybe came through in the film a little bit more than the book, but just in all that horror and torture and misery, to
that's another novel.
Always have hope.
Oh, what? Yeah.
No, exactly. And I got the same thing for all the same reasons. Yeah, I mean, Shawshank Redemption is another great.
And maybe more in the film than the short stories. Just he's that film is just so perfect. You know, I mean, I remember trying to get my parents to watch it, and I told them it was based on a Stephen King story.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, how he writes things besides horror.
Yeah.
And they gave me such a fight about watching it at first. Like, just try it. I promise you'll like it.
They were convincing you to watch it.
No, I was trying to get them to watch it.
Oh, okay.
You know, because he carries that stigma with him that it's just horror.
Gotcha.
You know? And I remember seeing it at the theater when... I saw it first run in the theater, and you know that's when Pulp Fiction and Forrest Gump and all those, and no one bothered to see this film. I don't think. You know, it caught on in video rentals and cable.
I have this discussion all the time. Some of the best movies are like come in number 20 on, you know.
And it was my best film of the year. I was like, there's nothing better than this.
Right.
And then Forrest Gump wins, but
it's Tom Hanks. Yeah,
I like Zemeckis, but no, it was not.
Right. No.
Like you said, as soon as you go full on retard, you win the award, right?
Yeah. No, I get you. So how about you, Fuego?
Oh man, you know,
favorite hero.
Favorite hero. I like the conflicted heroes. I like the people who, and then obviously, you know, Andy would be one of them too. But If I was to go not movie, if I was going to go miniseries, I would most definitely go Larry Underwood. Larry Underwood from The Stand in the miniseries I thought was represented very, very well as a character who has a good heart but doesn't always make the right decisions, and yet, you know, I'm big on the whole martyrdom, you know, sacrificial lamb kind of complex. Right. And I mean, another one who does it very well is John Smith in The Dead Zone, where he's willing to lay down his life for the greater good. And both of those characters do it. And spoilers in there, you know, they both die, but their sacrifice is for a bigger, greater goal. And that's why I just adore both of those characters. I mean, Bill Hodges would be another one. He doesn't, you know, lose his stuff till the end. Guard from the Tommyknockers, he's another sacrificial lamb who is willing to go up in that ship, and, you know, after, you know, getting rid of Bobby and everything, you honestly need to watch It's bad in its effects and stuff, but Jim Smits really embodies that character very well, in my opinion, especially with, like, his drunken freak out at the poetry reading. And I mean,
did the story go along good? I mean, you know, with how they
as you always have with, like, Stephen King adaptations, and anytime you're adapting a bigger novel, it's really the cliff notes, so it's like the big beats kind of thing. But it's fairly faithful in the big beats. It doesn't really alter that much. It was an ABC miniseries. I want to say it came in between it and The Stand, but I can't recall 100%.
It's around that time for sure. So
yeah, it was early 90s. Yeah. If I'm not going to go sacrificial, dude, I would definitely go either Jake Epping from 1122 or Jack Sawyer again from, because I love time travel. I love interdimensional jumping and things like that. Like,
heck yeah, man.
That's the kind of stuff I always wanted to do as a kid, and it's never left me. I would still.
See, that's another thing you'd love with Dark Tower.
Oh no, without a doubt, I know.
That's another thing you'd love with Dark Tower. You know, you go through a door, and all of a sudden you're in a parallel America where maybe everything's the same, but there's like different faces on the money or something like that. You know.
Yeah.
Quantum Leap or Family Guy, where it's Stewie, where it goes back in time.
Just little differences, and that there's layer upon layers of worlds, and that's the whole point of the story, to protect these worlds.
I know. I've got a crap load of stuff I got to get to.
And dude, Dino, it's so cool because, like, Father Callahan from Salem's Lot is brought into the later volumes, and he's doing interdimensional jumping, and he notices those differences on the money and things like that, and how, like, he reads a newspaper and there's a different president than there should be at the time and stuff like that. And then they bring in Ted Brodigan from Hearts in Atlantis in the 7th book, which is really dope. The character that Anthony Hopkins played in the film. Right. And so, those books are so good. I cannot recommend them enough.
He's actually a very big character in like 5th and 6th books.
Wow, really? Okay.
I
know my brother, I mean,
a major
years
character.
And years ago, he almost forced me.
He's the one who told me to read them.
Yeah, read these
Billy's
books.
The one who told me to read them.
Yeah, and I never got to them, so I'm missing out on.
I probably wouldn't have got to them if it wasn't for your brother. So
yeah. My real last name is Callahan, so I have that, like, little connective tissue kind of thing and stuff. And he becomes an official part of the quartet in those later books, man. He's part of the crew with Roland and everybody else. So.
That's so cool, man. Oh. Wow. Okay, yeah, so let's get to the very last question.
Yes, so the toughest one as well.
What is your favorite Stephen King book and why? Mine probably... The less books you read, the easier the question. So mine's probably going to be pretty easy. I've got it, 1986.
My top 3, man.
I mean, it's one that... There's
a lot of reasons for it to be number 1.
Right. I mean, characters, storyline, nostalgia. It was the first book I really read. I mean, Exorcist was technically the first book. Nothing to do with Stephen King, people, but and that book scared the living crap out of me. But anyways, it was technically the next book I ended up reading, and. I harken back to that, and you can't get the story out of your head once you read it. And that's why, Fuego, I'm so hard on the adaptations that they do, because
miniseries too?
I'm not even a real big fan of that either. I mean, and I love Tim Curry.
Right. Same here. Yeah. I mean, I liked the new one better than the old one.
Really? I'm not so sure about.
Well, no, it's very close. But if you're talking Pennywise, I'll go with the original. I'm sorry, I would go with the original. But
I just feel like everyone who's gushed over it hasn't read the book.
Exactly.
They'll see that book on your shelf and go, "I'm not reading that," And
you have to ask, guys, did you read the book before you saw the Curry miniseries?
Yeah, I started. I mean, I've read the book a few times.
Yeah.
I read it when it first came out in paperback.
Right.
And
so I was one of those kids, in the early '90s when the miniseries came out. That I saw the miniseries first, and I read the book later. So it has that iconic nostalgic connection.
I think I read the book first.
Okay.
Yeah, I read the book first because I remember the cover had the claw hand coming out of the gutter and grab it.
Green claw. Yeah.
So I read that probably a year before the miniseries, saw the miniseries, and then when I knew the new movie was coming, I knew I wouldn't end up seeing it in the theater. I knew I'd watch it on Blu-ray or something.
Right.
And I read the book and then I watched it and cried and.
No.
I mean, there's good things about it.
With me, it's again.
I still think they do a tremendous job with, for instance, like where Bev is hearing the voices in the train.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that scene is done. That might be the scariest scene in the entire.
Like again, there was moments in it that I liked, but as a whole, overall, I still don't think they've. I mean, I guess you can't Lord of the Rings everything, and.
Stephen J. Atkins in the chat says the original was. Fine until the cross-haired spider Muppet showed up. But you know what? It was what it was back then.
I mean, you read the book. The book doesn't even really. Yeah. It's just an interpretation, and it's not like he goes into vast detail of what it looks like. And
right.
No, it's more about the ritual of Chud and like the whole mind game kind of thing. Anyway, between both as adults and as kids and stuff. If I'm going to talk about the 2017 film though. It's funny, and Ted will know a little bit more about having explored the Dark Tower stuff. It's like King is very big on those alternate, twinny universe, similar universe kind of things. I just tried to look at it 2017 as being like a twinny dairy. It's almost like an alternate universe theory where things don't transpire exactly the same. Where Ben is all of a sudden the expert on the town, and where there's all these little subtle, nuanced differences. And when I look at a show like Castle Rock, or even last year, that new interpretation of Mist, which really sucked, but still had a whole redeeming qualities here and there. That's what I try to look at for these new interpretations and adaptations of King stuff, because it really is just reimagining at the end of the day.
And I don't get sore about different adaptations of books. You've always got the book. It's just someone else's interpretation of it. It's not the same thing as, say, remaking Nightmare on Elm Street or something like that. This is a book. You can make it as many different ways as you want.
Right.
But I guess my concern would be, no one's going to grab that book off the shelf and read it because there's this movie I can watch. And the book is so rich, and I love the 50s setting. I love the bond between the children.
Yes.
The backstory, the chapters that are told from, its perspective. And, it takes a long damn time to read it. But
was that your favorite, too?
It's a time... Well, I don't want to just jump in here, but I'm just...
Okay, go ahead.
Between that and The Stand and...
Yeah, there's a big three for Stephen King, and I was hoping we would hit the big three because they're my top three, and they kind of shift places depending on which I've read most recently, honestly, so...
Yeah.
But I would certainly say it, and if it's my turn, I would certainly say The Stand, just because of the scope of the story, what it deals with. It's not necessarily a horror story, it's the apocalypse, the end of the world, it's good versus evil, it's God versus the devil, it's... and it doesn't necessarily end happy. And it also ties in the Dark Tower. Right. But they come out a door and, hey, this is the world where Captain Trips happened.
Yeah.
But, just the time that it takes to tell this story and all the characters involved that all get a chance to flesh out and have their moments. And it just makes it a great read. And it's like, more The Stand, the better.
Yeah. And real quick, I'll let you go next. Fuego here. Did you get a chance to read any of the Anne Rice Vampire Chronicles?
Me?
Yeah.
I read up through Tale of the Body Thief.
Yeah.
Fourth book.
Devil Memnock, I want to say.
Yeah, Memnock the Devil. Yeah.
It's like a bit book, but yeah, honestly, it was back in high school, and I very vaguely remember anything beyond Lestat switching bodies in Tale of Monteith and all that. So it's actually a series I've wanted to. My ex-girlfriend who I dated for a long time was big crazy into those books, man.
My favorite.
So was my mom. My mom loved those books.
Just never got around to it. So
okay. I just said I could. I mean, I would love to find somebody who's into it as much as I am, because that's my favorite.
Just put out.
You can go talk to my mother.
I could.
Just put out, right? That dealt with it, like tied in with Atlantis and all this stuff. Didn't she just put out a new Lestat book in the last year or so?
Yeah, Prince Lestat.
Yeah, and she's currently with her son developing a new television adaptation that I'm very excited about. So I mean,
I am too.
It's rich mythology, man. Do you get into her weird like Jesus books and stuff like that?
Yeah, no. Well, Memnoch the Devil was just. I really love that because they were going back and forth with God and the devil.
But she wrote I don't know if it was 2 books or 3 books, a trilogy of young Jesus. You might not even know about him.
No. Well, of course I know everything that she's put out, even the love stuff in the very.
Oh, you like those Sleeping Beauty books, huh?
No. That I didn't care for. I didn't even care for
my mom read them.
Mummy the Ramses the Mummy. I didn't care.
Oh my God, those Sleeping Beauty whatever shit, man. I don't know.
My mom goes, it's all spanking.
Well, hey, let's end it with Fuego telling us his.
Well, since you guys obviously talked about both, and for me, I'm going to just segue into what is obviously the third of the big trilogy. And some people may think it's The Shining. For me, it's not. Some people like Salem's Lot is a 4 for me. The Wastelands and Wizard and Glass, that's my favorite period of the Dark Tower, is those 2 books like right beside each other because they basically bridge. It's funny because for me, there is like the shining hope that is the stand at the end, at least the original ending, where it's like, well, life will go on, and so on and so forth, and the birth of Stu and what's her face's child, but Franny's child, but it was one of those where it was like more of the melancholy, moderate variety, where it's so bittersweet in the fact that it's about losing your childhood and how memories fade and things like that. And the last time that I read it, right before the film came out last year, I think it hit me harder than ever before because it had been a few years since I'd read it and I'd gotten older. And I was like, wow, there's a lot of friends who I loved as a kid, and those memories of just fond friendships are fading and stuff like that. And it really, I mean, especially at the end of that book, where you guys know since you both read it, they're already forgetting the adventure that they just had. It's already just diminishing, and the glimmers are fading. And so whereas The Stand has hope, it is more so like moderate. The third is the one where there's no hope whatsoever, and it's not something that King does very often in his novels, which is why he locked this book in a drawer for 3 or 4 years or something, and that's Pet Sematary. Pet Sematary for me is the scariest and the darkest novel, at least, that he's ever written, and there's a reason why. He was like, this is the most effed up thing, I'm just going to throw it away and I'm not going to release it. And it's because it was so closely connected to his own family. Right. He was essentially envisioning, because, his son, I can't remember if it was Owen, I actually think it was Owen, his youngest, who when he was living by that road, when he was teaching at that college, was running towards a road where there were those same big semis going up and down. And King always says you write what you know. And he was basically envisioning the darkest scenario for his family and putting it to paper if his son got ran over by a semi. And I think it was so personally connected to his own family, especially even his daughter saying, that's my cat, that's not God's cat, and all this other stuff. Like, it was so personally connected that maybe that's why he didn't feel right about releasing it, because it was that closely connected to him.
Right.
And there's no silver lining at the end of that novel, man. None whatsoever. Donuts.
No. Thank God he put it out, though, right? It's out there. So.
It's so good, though, because it's so effed up. Like, the descent, the downward spiral into madness that Lewis goes into, and just the justification for his madness, the whole, hey, ho, let's go, and that's his battle cry with the Ramones and everything. I mean, it's really frightening to see. And then you do have sheer terror, like where he sees the Wendigo, and I've actually theorized for a little while now that basically jumping over that deadfall or whatever is essentially him stepping into a thin Ted, and he's going into another dimension.
Right.
You know, it's like one of those thin patches, like in Crouch End and Eyeball Canyon, and you know, places like that. So yeah, Pet Sematary. Whereas, you know, once again, The Stand has hope. It is more melancholy and in the middle tone-wise at the end, but Pet Sematary is dark as fuck, and there's no hope at the end of that book, none whatsoever. So that's why it's so.
Oh, that's awesome.
Big.
That's cool.
So
we hit them all. That's awesome.
Oh yeah,
and I would put those as the top 3.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, at least for me.
Excluding Dark Tower series, just novels. Boom, right there.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. Yeah, that's the tag. That's 8 questions. Bronco Juggalo talks movies. Link will be down there and everything like that. But Fuego, anything special coming up with your new Hail to Stephen King series?
Well, in September, it's the 40th anniversary of The Stand, so before the month is over, we're going to be doing some coverage of the comic book, myself and Cecil. We're going to be talking about the miniseries, so that's one thing.
When does that premiere? Is that going to premiere soon?
What's that?
The new miniseries. Is that when will that premiere?
It's been in development hell for a while now at this point, unfortunately. So they're saying it's going to be a 10-episode series on the CBS All Access, which is where they put the Star Trek Discovery show.
Oh, no way.
Think about that, because I thought Mr. Mercedes was badass, but yet very few people have the audience. AT&T, DirecTV, whatever network, and so not as many people got to see it as they should have. So yeah,
CBS All Access.
That's all right.
Yeah.
There's ways of seeing it.
I know.
10 episodes instead of 4, though. I mean, I don't know. I thought the Marvel comic adaptation of The Stand was very well done. I don't know if either of you guys have got the chance to check it out, but
I haven't. But I know it exists.
It's good, and they didn't really omit very much. They released issues for whether it was like 5 or 6 different like mini series, and they went for like 3 or 4 years. So it covered just about everything, you know, including the omitted stuff from the original version that was added in the uncut. So we also started a new book club, like I mentioned, I think at the very beginning of the video. So at the beginning of the month, we had this Facebook group called Hail to Stephen King that was kind of an offshoot of the series and the YouTube series, I should say.
Oh, yeah. So, go check out that. Yeah, I should put that down there in the link, too. The Hail to Stephen King Facebook group. Go join that. Yeah.
We have a closely knit quartet, man. I mean, we have various people from all over the world: Spain, Italy, Mexico. You know, lots of UK peeps, and they post everything from like international editions of books that they have and stuff, covers I've never seen. So we do Tower Tuesday every Tuesday, where we post like Dark Tower memes and pictures and stuff like that, which is pretty dope. And so I actually just decided at the beginning of this month to start doing a monthly book club thing. So at the first Monday of each month, say, hey, this is what we're going to reread. And last video of the month on the YouTube channel for the horror show is going to be just covering that book. And this month it's Bag of Bones, which not my favorites, but Mike Noonan's an okay character. I don't know if you guys ever saw the Pierce Brosnan miniseries.
Yeah.
It's not very good, in my opinion. The whole dealing with child custody issues and things like that. It's just not topics I found very fascinating. And like that, Dreamcatcher are my 2 least favorite adaptations of Psy-King. But yeah.
I hear you. Yeah. No, good, man. Yeah. Let's see who said something in here. Stephen G. Atkins says the gunslinger has the best opening line.
Huh? The man in black fled across the desert, and the gunslinger followed.
There you go. Yeah.
Like I said, it's not the most easiest book to jump into that world in, but it is what it is, and it's important. But after that, it's gravy. Yeah. So that's usually what I tell people. Get past the first book. It's a little odd, but
cool.
Then it's gravy.
Anything between you guys you want to talk about real quick here? You guys good?
Well, and it's also a line, as Ted knows, that pops up at the perfect time in book 7. So
can't say it though, huh?
We can't say it because it's a spoiler.
Okay.
Like,
say it.
Like opening line from book 1 shows up in book 7, and it's at the most perfect time. So
okay.
But, it's just Ka is a wheel. It's just a big wheel. The story ends where it begins. The story's gonna go along. So
life is cyclical in many ways. So that's spoiling. So that's pretty dope.
Awesome. Yes. So there you go. But we're not going to keep this too long. I think we've gone A little over an hour.
About an hour.
Have you read The Outsider? My kids got it for me for Father's Day.
Yeah, dude, it's good. It's actually. Have you read the Bill Hodges trilogy?
Okay. All right. They picked it up for me. I just haven't read it yet. It's on the shelf.
There's a character from the Bill Hodges trilogy. It's almost like a pseudo spin-off kind of thing. It's another hard-boiled crime thing that has supernatural elements employed kind of halfway through without spoiling anything. But it's really good.
Okay, great. Yeah, they picked it up for me, and I got to get around to it.
Is Stephen King still kicking out? Are these newer novels still good?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Dude, so put something.
I haven't read them, but
sometimes twice a year. Like last year, he put out Sleeping Beauties with his son, which was a big fat novel with tons of characters in it, or novel, I should say. And then he put out one of these Button Box and a couple short stories. So he's still at his age. His birthday's the day after mine, and I'm actually playing the show with my band on the 21st. I'm trying to get my band to cover Pet Sematary by the Ramones, and they're not so hot on it because they're not punk rock guys. But he's still doing his thing, even at he's in his 70s now. So.
Yeah. No. Okay, cool. Yeah.
You got that record by Demons and Wizards, all about Dark Tower?
Oh man, where there's the Terror Train or whatever.
Yeah. I got that album at home.
I did 3 different videos for Hail to Stephen King where they were basically covering music mentioned in the series. So I did a 2-parter for the first 4 books and the last 3 where I just went song by song that's mentioned in the novels. And then I did a 3rd video where it was music inspired by the Dark Tower. And we got copyright hit even though we were abiding by fair use, the bastards. But using like 15-second clips in some of these songs from these European bands because it's all European bands that are doing Dark Tower metal and stuff like that. But it was a very fun video to put together, man. It was dope.
Wow.
It's a whole, not the whole record, but the good chunk of it is all dedicated to Dark Tower.
That's awesome.
So,
cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
Cool. Okay, yeah. It's so there you go, you guys. Another tag live video in the books, and
hashtag Tower Junkie for me, man. I'm glad we got to talk about it a little bit.
Heck yeah, no! Thank you for joining us,
Absolutely.
And check out all the links below, you guys. Click them all. Subscribe. Bronco Juggalo talks movies. Check him out too. The link will be down there. And we're gonna get ready and onto the next tag. And
awesome. It's the TED show for that one, I guess.
Yeah, it'll be the TED show for that one. And then
a comment in on the full moon tag because back in my childhood, I loved the hell out of full moon, and I feel like they've dropped off in quality as the years.
Oh yeah,
I just subscribed to the streaming channel, so
subspecies, trancers. I mean, I was all into those when I was younger, man. And then it started doing Evil Bong or whatever.
No, right. No, but those classics are classic. Yeah, I mean, Subspecies is beautiful.
I was watching an old one last night called Laser Blast, and I swear to God, Roddy McDowell's in it for probably less than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But I'm like, how did they? Did he owe someone a favor or something that he's even in the movie? But he plays a role that anybody could have done. So.
Tim Thomerson is the shiznit, though, dude. I wish that guy's still doing stuff.
Dollman and Trancers.
They'll do what they can.
I guess what I like about them is that it's all in-house, and they do it all themselves, all original scripts, no remakes or anything like that. They do it their own way. I just think that's cool. It's like, all in-house. They got their own.
The new Puppet Master, though, which they allowed, different the Bone Tomahawk guy to do a remake kind of pseudo reboot of, and that's actually that movie's awesome.
Yeah, there's a couple. We're not as big into the gore. There was a couple parts where we're like, but I didn't hate it at all.
No, so, right? You said it was
self-contained. The best entry in that series for me, having I had the puppets, as a kid and stuff like that, the little thing, whatnot. Nothing beats Puppet Master 2 for me, but everything else is kind of subjective.
1, 2, and 3 I rented ad nauseum.
Yeah.
4 and 5 pretty much too. I mean 1 through 5 I love.
Yeah.
The rest I'll watch. You probably saw the video. I got the big collection.
Oh yeah.
And I finally watched it all. I'm all done. I don't think I've ever blown through movies that fast. So I've watched them all.
Wow. Yeah, you went through.
And I did the last 2. I don't think I'd even seen. I hadn't even seen the last 2.
Axis, whatever.
Yeah, so Axis of Evil, then there was Axis Rising and Axis Termination. I hadn't seen that.
There's 3 of them. Yeah.
Right. I think Axis Rising was the last one or Axis of Evil was the last one I had seen.
Okay.
So I finished the trilogy finally.
Well, good for you.
Thank you.
There you go. Ted finished it. Anyway.
So, yeah, they're not going to disrupt the flow. Even though there was Littlest Reich, they're still going to keep making their own in-house.
I think they'll still make their own.
Yeah.
You know,
cool.
They still got some loose ends of their own in their own movies to tie up. So
Yepers, man.
You know.
Okay, so yeah, there we go. Thank you again, Fuego. Go subscribe
Pleasure,
to
guys.
the Horror Show. Yeah, and thank you very much. And I'm sure we'll cross paths again. And well, we're friends anyway. So, anyways, later, you guys. Late Horror Show. See you next time. Take it easy.